Well, it's the last month before the frantic purchases that almost means companies move more than half of their inventory. For most of this week, I'll be focusing on entrepreneurship and how Nigeria's recent ranking in the ease of doing business indices is shaping up to be the most talked about news of competitiveness for businesses this side south of the Sahara. And the first entrepreneur on the program tonight is a Nigerian lady who turns trash into beautiful furniture pieces. She's Olamide Babajide, founder of Pearl Recycling. Olamide, it's so good to have you on Business Tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Let me start this way. The Nigerian government has been talking about localization after it slipped out of recession. And SMEs and entrepreneurship is one area it's focusing on now to be able to ensure that path towards growth. And it seems easy with this latest World Doing Business ranking, raising Nigeria 24 places higher. That's very good for us. Now, how easy has it been for you with Pearl Recycling? Well, it's good to know that Pearl Recycling is a company that transforms recyclables like car tires, magazines, straws, plastics, and wood, among other things. Yes, how easy has it been? How did you start?
We started 2014, and but we became really legal in 2016. And sincerely, like I said, it was easy to register in 2016 compared to 2014. Because, you know, the bureaucracies of registering your company, going through middlemen was almost cut off. So it was more like you go there to register your company yourself. Yeah, I think that way, when you look at the parameters of registering a company, it's quite easy now to register a company. But then access to fund was quite hard, you know. So yeah, so far it's been good. I think that's it.
It's been good, and I know that many startups want to hear it now. How much did it take you to start? If you say access to capital, was good.
Well, I'm going to speak for a recycling business that I do. I do upcycling, which is quite different from what most recycling companies do. If you want to go fully into recycling, you need a lot of capital, which was quite different from what I do. I needed just a little, like $5,000, which I was able to raise from a grant, you know, and that was what we used to start up. And I think it was enough to start up, because our business was the kind of business that generates its income regularly. So after
it sells itself.
Yes. So after we started with that money, we were able to make money to keep going, to sustain also. Yeah.
So tell us about Pearl Recycling. Does it mean Pearl itself, aside from what I've been able to read out here?
Pearl Recycling transformed waste, like you said, into furniture and decor. We started in 2014. While I was on a trip to United Arab Emirates, I bought a wall decor, and then I got to Nigeria to realize it was made from waste. So I told myself, we have waste everywhere in Nigeria. This is something somebody can start to do. And, you know, I have a background of engineering. I'm a computer engineer. And I felt, okay,
did it make it much more easier?
Yeah, it was. It was, because I love to design things. I love to design a lot. And it was quite easy because I'm coming from a creative side. Yeah. So I was able to put pen and paper and just draw something and then come up with the conceptualizing and all that. So it was more like a smooth sail. And then when I go to work on Mondays to Friday, I use my Saturdays and Sundays to work on what I've actually, you know, tabled down. And then I go back to work on Monday to sell to my colleagues. So that was how we started in 2014. So while I started in 2014, I was still keeping my day-to-day job until 2016 that I just finally launched fully. Yeah.
So you've been able to make so much. You may want to share.
We've been able to make enough to keep us running.
And has that encouraged the banks to be able to loan out to you?
I think getting loan from banks is another different terrain. We shouldn't, I don't know, maybe it's not something we should talk about. You have to go to a lot of bureaucracies. To be frank, it's not easy to get money. As a young SME starting up in Nigeria, you have to fill this you know, dot the I's, cross the J's.
But that amazes me, even with this World Bank ease of doing business. And from what we heard from the SSA, so the president, I listened to her, and she said Nigeria is like, is it the sixth that access to capital is much more easy in Nigeria? We're wondering. All right, let's hear it from the SSA herself to the president, Julie Oduwole.
The recent success in the moving of the rankings. So it's about political will and collaboration. Those are the two key things that enable any country to move forward. It's not by fluke, it takes a lot of hard work. The presidency decided to take this initiative very seriously. Mr. President inaugurated a council, Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, in July 2016. It's chaired by His Excellency the Vice President, with the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment as Vice Chair. You have about 10 other ministers in the room. Finance, Foreign Affairs, Information, Power, all the players that need to be in the room. The central bank governor, the head of civil service, because of the very important position of our civil and public servants in implementing any reform. As we started the project, we also decided that we needed a lot more collaboration, and the National Assembly has been a key partner. So we have a high-level representative, the Deputy Senate Majority Leader is a member of the council, and we have representation from state governments, Lagos and Kano State to be precise. What this does is it gives the political impetus for reforms that the Secretariat and that MDAs are pushing to actually take root.
Well, she didn't talk much about that, but she talked about, you know, we talked about this earlier, two cities where this World Bank report were probably exactly Lagos and Kano. But so if it is just with Lagos and Kano, how then can you say that there is ease of doing business in Nigeria?
To be frank and fair, I think the World Bank rating is commendable. It's actually because, you know, they came up with this looking at some parameters, and that is what we should also look at. They look at your access to getting credit, your access to the availability or your ease of starting a business, and access to electricity, transborder, you know, doing business transborders, and a lot of parameters. And if you look at some of the parameters, it's actually commendable. I won't lie to you. Like I said, starting a business now compared to 3 years ago, it's quite easy for an entrepreneur. But then when you say access to credit, I think that is relative. Relative in the sense that how accessible are this credit to entrepreneurs, and then the information of getting credit, how many entrepreneurs knows about this information? I keep saying there are credits everywhere. You know, Bank of Industries runs credit, a lot of these banks run credit. But then my issue is this, very few people actually are aware of these credit facilities. And if you're trying to capture the entrepreneurs in a country like Nigeria with 186 million people, you need to make this information accessible to everybody. You
All right,
Olamide,
we really have to take a break. And when we come back, maybe it's a question we need to be asking. So who are those getting this credit that's available? And how much of power do you need to get your business across to those who need them? Well, that's we'll come back to talk about that on Business Tonight. We're focusing on entrepreneurship in Nigeria with the latest World Bank Ease of Doing Business report. Stay with us. You're watching Business Tonight. Olamide Babajide, founder, Pear Recycling, is in the studio with me. We've been talking entrepreneurship in Nigeria and how easy it has been for her business. Yes, Olamide, very briefly, you may know those who are accessing that credit that we have there. But okay, let's leave that. Yeah, let's talk about power. Power is still a limitation to many businesses. How much of power do you get for your business?
I think power, it's more like a fundamental human right for any country to scale up, you know, economically. And we don't have that kind of power in Nigeria. So there's no point beating around the bush to say we have power, we do this, we do that. But compared to what we had like 3-4 years ago, it has improved. Yeah, and that's what I keep saying, but we can do better. In 24 hours, you know, when you have power for like 16, 12 hours, is not enough to run a business. you have to rely on generators, and then that take part of your running costs because you need to fuel the diesel and all that. But then I think we can do better, like I said, because when you look at some countries that are not even up to us, when you look at Rwanda, on the ranking, Rwanda is 41. We have 145, and we are so happy with that ranking. And I think that's where the problem is, because it's more like we are okay with the average, we are not ready to, to scale up. So we can do better. I keep saying that Nigeria can do better. We can improve our power, we can. But yeah, it's better than what we had some years back.
All right, you're an entrepreneur. Talking to entrepreneurs that want to go into businesses like yours, what would you have to say to them? With all you have said is not so easy, but you just have to start.
I tell people that for an environment like Nigeria, you see, rich dad, poor dad, all those management books, and doesn't work. You have to be crazy to run a business in Nigeria, because the environment is not enabling enough for you to survive. Every day you wake up to see this, either the local government guys are coming to ask for receipt for this and that, and you just want to go crazy. But then you need to have passion. The first thing that is actually driving you should be your passion. You should love what you're doing. And I think that is the basic thing you need. When you are passionate about what you're doing, and it's not, you don't have to go into it for the money, you don't have to go into it for the fame. Along the line, the money and the fame will find you, so just hold on to the passion, be sure of where you're going, and never lose focus.
All right, we see some of your beautiful artworks there. I've seen some of them. How expensive are they?
Oh, they're not expensive. They're actually affordable. They're affordable for everybody to pick it up.
All right, Olamide Babajide, we have to say thank you at this time for coming on Business Tonight.
We
appreciate it.
Thank you.